Welcome.
Along with me.
Oh, gnarly!
Oh my god, I shot my eye out.
Please go to 11.
Reading Starfighter.
Hasta la vista, baby.
14.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to 40 Going on 14. I am Mike.
I am Patrick.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Josh, and this week we've got a group of white guys trying desperately to recapture the glory of the 80s and 90s, and another group of more successful white guys doing the same thing. It's the Kids in the Hall show.
Aw. I mean, you're not wrong. It just feels bad when you say it out loud.
But
Aw.
Mm.
Yeah, this week we are going with Kids in the Hall. They just, this last week, had a release of their next 8 episodes, which it's been, 20
30 years?
30 years? Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, welcome to the Kids in the Hall show.
we're crushing your head.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of that stuff going on.
Yes, we're crushing your head.
Yeah. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can call us at 708-NOW-RAP, 708-669-9727. You can also join the conversation on our Discord by clicking the Join Us link in the show notes, which this afternoon we were talking about knives.
We were. I have a Damascus steel pocket knife that is way too nice for the fact that I just use it to cut open Amazon boxes.
It's interesting. Like when I worked at the office and we would get packages in, and like, oh God, where's the box cutter? There's like only one box cutter in the whole place, and I pulled a knife out. I'm like, here, I got this, and everybody was like aghast at the fact that I had a knife in my pocket.
Yeah, I one time had to pull my pocket knife out for something in a casino, and security got called.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Vegas.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, and it wasn't even the knife. It wasn't even like the buck knife that I normally carry. It was like a pen knife. So maybe like a 2-inch long blade. And they're like, "Oh man, you just carry that around? Why?"
No.
Because knives are an incredibly useful tool to have in your pocket at all times. That's why
I have a knife in my pocket.
Yeah.
Sometimes you never know when you're going to have to cut a bitch.
Yeah, as like right now. Yeah.
We also, it seems like the Evil Dead game came up at least once.
I know the review showed up a couple times.
Yeah. It's funny, back in the Hobbytown days, my pocket knife was so illegal, and I was constantly opening boxes of board games with a switchblade.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I still have the switchblade that I confiscated off of a dude in one of the bars I worked at. It's nice. It's pearl handled and everything. It's real nice.
Oh,
That is nice. Yeah, mine was smuggled over from Germany. Not actually sure where it is. Probably in the garage.
Germany? It's in Europe.
I appreciate that.
All right. We don't have any listener feedback this week, so shame on you.
Ah, damn it.
I know. In the meantime, we have the question of the week, which is, what are some things you hated as a child but enjoy now?
Anal sex.
I was just going to say that. Damn it.
Thank you, everybody. That's it for the show tonight.
Yep, time to fold it up. Bake them away, toys.
What's a good run?
You're fast on the draw, Patrick. Damn it.
God, what? Yeah, that's a good question. Hated as a kid, but enjoy now?
I had a bunch of those, and I think some of them have come up on the show before. The one that comes to mind first for me was corn. Because my mom
Corn wasn't around when you were a kid.
Yeah, not the band, the food.
The food, yes.
Okay.
My and I still don't like the band, but yeah, my mom would just serve. My mom would just serve creamed corn or canned corn, and I didn't like it until the first time I had corn on the cob. I was like, wait a minute, this food isn't disgusting.
Well, if you're starting out with cream corn, that's a bad place to start.
I love creamed corn, but it's got to be made right.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's canned cream corn and canned corn.
Yeah.
I also didn't like any sort of chili because it was bad. Now it's like my signature dish.
This chili tastes bad.
And one thing that I didn't like as a kid or even as an adult, I didn't start liking until like a couple months ago, was green olives. At least I can tolerate them now if they're stuffed with blue cheese.
Mm.
What about
Yes.
jalapenos?
I have not tried them with jalapenos, but I almost kind of feel like the blue cheese olives may have been the gateway. Yeah, kind of like you have your first sort of beer and it eases you into more complicated beers. I
Okay.
might be able to branch out now.
That sounds good. I'm trying to think things that I didn't like. That I mean, one big thing is like tomatoes. Growing up, I
Oh.
hated tomatoes.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Like
Same
raw
here.
Yes.
tomatoes on a burger. Nope, not having that. Now, I will make sliced beefsteak tomatoes, sprinkle salt on them to dehydrate them a little bit, and then grill them for breakfast every now and then with some basil. That's pretty good. The little cherry tomatoes, the ones that like pop in your mouth when you bite them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are good. I to the point where like my grandfather used to get mad at me because we would go to the restaurant and I literally everything on my plate because he was a big eat everything type of guy,
Yeah.
and I would eat literally everything all the way down to the friggin' sprig of whatever the hell they put on it for garnish.
Parsley.
Like, fuck it, a little thing of parsley. I'd eat that, and I'd have a slice of tomato left on my plate. Why aren't you eating that tomato? Because I don't like tomatoes. What's
don't
wrong with
wanna.
tomatoes? I don't like them. Why aren't you eating? Like, I literally ate everything. Everything. Leave the damn tomato alone.
I don't wanna.
I don't want to.
Yeah, I was the same way. Tomatoes is a solid answer. I think part of it was due to a joke I was told when I was
Oh,
a kid. The whorehouse tomato joke.
Oh yeah.
And it grossed me out at the time, and so didn't want to eat them. Kind of like eggs. I wasn't a big egg fan either. But yeah, tomatoes now I literally eat them at least 5 days a week, sometimes more.
Wow.
Because I eat them on my sandwiches. I don't like them plain. Like Laura will eat them. Like she'll have a tomato. She'll cut it up. She'll put some seasoning on it and then just eat it as a snack. I can't do that though. I got to have it on something else.
Yeah, I can do them just by themselves, but they have to be like, what do they call them? The really weird looking tomatoes.
The heirloom.
Heirloom tomatoes. Yeah, if I eat them raw, they're going to be heirloom tomatoes, or they're going to be little cherry tomatoes. But I can't do like, I have to cook them.
Oh, I love cherry tomatoes on salads. Like,
Oh yeah.
I love
I-
them on there.
I see. I don't like the gushy stuff on the inside of tomatoes still, but like a Roma tomato that is almost all flesh, I'll have that.
Those are tasty.
That's what I eat on my sandwiches. I only eat Roma tomatoes on my sandwiches. I eat the beefsteak ones or the bigger ones on salad. Like I'll cut them really fine.
Yeah. I think you and I have the same texture thing probably with the gushy stuff in the other kinds of tomatoes.
Yep, absolutely. Wait, did we already ask Patrick?
Yeah, I'm afraid he's going to go back to that.
I fell asleep during the tomato conversation.
Fuck off.
It's gripping stuff.
I'd have to go with onions. I used to hate onions, and now once I started cooking, I learned how much they affect everything. So.
Oh, man, onions, everything. I don't care.
Yep.
I put them in just about everything.
Yep, same.
If you're starting to get bored with a type of meat, just add onions.
Mm-hmm.
True. And like now, I pretty much always have like a tub of caramelized onions just sitting in my fridge, waiting to be put on anything.
Nice.
Spice up your bedroom. Get some onions.
Okay.
I wore an onion on my belt.
As was the style at the time.
All right.
All right, I'm thinking it's about
Jesus
that time.
Christ.
This week in music, movies, and TV.
And corn.
All right, so this week we're going with October 16th, 1988, the premiere of the first episode of Kids in the Hall.
Welcome to the Corn and Tomatoes show.
I want to sing the song I was singing earlier now. Not the corn one, the other one. Nobody will understand. Anyway, all right, music. The top song in the land was Red, Red Wine by UB40. And I do B40.
Okay, here's 2 trivia about that one.
Okay.
Who originally sang Red, Red Wine?
Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond.
I was going to say, you've told us this before, but I couldn't remember who it was.
What is UB40? It's
Okay.
actually a specific thing.
It's a ship from World War II.
It's like an unemployment form. It's like
Yeah,
an
right.
unemployment form, isn't it?
Joel's right. It's
Oh, darn it.
It stands for Unemployment Benefits 40. It's the form that you fill out in Great Britain when you don't
No,
have a job.
you too is what I was thinking of. Damn.
It's not an old wooden ship, Patrick.
Well, when in Rome.
I ate a red squirrel. All right, moving on. So on October 17th, the Traveling Wilburys released their debut album, Volume 1, featuring the single Handle with Care. The supergroup included Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, and Tom Petty.
Yep, one of the supergroups, definitely worthy of the name.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, can either of you that is not Patrick tell me which band Jeff Lynne was in?
Oh, I should know this.
ELO.
There you go. Yeah.
Aha. I wasn't sure. I figured one of you would get it. I knew Patrick would, but I wanted
Now,
to see which
What
one.
was
you
it?
would
I
get
actually didn't hear what Mike said.
Oh,
ELO.
ELO.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I should have known that.
Well, what does
Yeah,
ELO stand for?
Electric Light Orchestra.
There we go. I figured.
Okay, and
Got to throw some softballs every now and then.
now here's the other thing. Was it actually Volume 1 or did they start with Volume 3? Oh, no. They skipped 2. They went from 1 to 3.
It's like Leonard Part 6
Yeah.
Oh.
No, well,
with less raping.
what
was-
version? What movie did you see?
Well, Leonard Part 6 was Bill Cosby, so I'm just assuming there was less
Ah.
raping on this set.
Okay, moving on.
Oh, I see what you're doing there. Okay, yeah, let's move on, please. All right.
Because there's not
Edward-
none on the other one, is my point.
Edward James Son House Jr. was an American Delta blues singer and guitarist noted for his highly emotional style of singing and slide guitar playing. He turned to blues performance at the age of 25 after being in the traveling preacher scene. He quickly developed a unique style by applying the rhythmic drive, vocal power, and emotional intensity of his preaching to his short career. Charlie Patton, the foremost blues artist of the Mississippi Delta region, invited him to accompany him to a 1930 recording session for Paramount Records. The records did not sell due to the Great Depression. Locally, House remained popular, and he was a formative influence on Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters. In 1941 and 42, House and the members of his band were recorded by Alan Lomax and John K. Work for the Library of Congress. He recorded several albums, and some informally taped concerts have also been issued as albums. House died in 1988. In 2017, his single, which is also the acronym of the week, PTB.
I'm pretty sure that stands for Pleasing the Booty.
It's coming back around there. Things he didn't
Well,
like as a kid.
Going back to Patrick's youth.
I thought for sure it was going to be
Hey.
a Patrick thing.
I can't believe you finally got one right.
For blues, I might have.
No, that's actually Preaching the Blues.
Oh.
Preaching the Blues, yeah.
Yeah. So his single "Preaching the Blues" was was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame in 2017. Just to circle back.
All right, moving on to movies. The number one movie in the land was The Accused, starring Jodie Foster and a pinball machine, knocking off Alien Nation.
Patrick. Patrick, go to your corner.
Oh, fine. Worth
Also
it.
released this week, Bat 21 is a 1988 Vietnam War film directed by Peter Markle and starring Gene Hackman, Danny Glover, and Jerry Reed. The film is a dramatization based on a Behind Enemy Lines rescue.
What, Patrick?
What?
You were going to say something more about the pinball?
No, all I said was
Okay.
worth it. That's all.
I don't think I've ever seen Bat 21.
I have not either.
I haven't either. I've heard of it, but never seen it.
I don't know if I've ever heard of it.
Mike?
I have heard of it. I have not seen it.
Yeah, clean sweep.
Yep.
Let's do a show.
But
All right.
seriously, Gene Hackman and Jerry Reed. How could you go wrong?
Bat 21 versus the Batman.
21.
All right. Benita Gloria Granville Rather was an American actress and producer. Granville began her career on the stage at age 3, making her film debut in Westward Passage. She rose to prominence for her role in These Three, which earned her an Academy Award nomination at age 14. Her prominence continued with the Nancy Drew film series and roles in Now Voyager and Hitler's Children. Yikes. She also worked as a philanthropist and businesswoman, most notably owning and operating the Disneyland Hotel with her husband. She was appointed to the John F. Kennedy Center Board of Trustees by President Richard Nixon in 1972 and for another term by President Ronald Reagan in 1982. In addition to her Oscar nomination, Granville received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960 for her contributions to the film industry. Granville died on October 11th, 1988 of lung cancer at the age of 65. She and her husband were posthumously named Disney Legends in 2011. The Bonita Tower and the Granville Steakhouse at Disneyland were both named in her honor.
Very cool.
Wow. I learned a lot in that.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of this woman before. She was instrumental in Disney.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, the name rings a bell, but I had no idea until Josh read all that. Anything more about her other than the name.
Did you eat at that steakhouse, Mike, on your honeymoon?
Good question.
I didn't go to Disneyland.
Oh, you went to Disney World?
Yeah.
Oh, boo.
Oh,
Right.
so did you eat there?
Flew out there just to eat.
I want a steak. We only have steak in Disneyland. I'll be right back.
Bought a ticket, flew there, had a steak, came back.
All right.
Suzanne's like, you could have taken me.
You like steak? Okay, so TV top shows in the land were The Cosby Show, Roseanne, A Different World, and Cheers.
Guess which one of those led with the most rapes?
Oh my God!
Cheers.
As soon as he said Cosby, I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, he coming.
But nobody knew
Here's his wheelhouse.
until recently.
All right. On October 17th, Roseanne, starring Roseanne Barr, John Goodman, and Laurie Metcalf, premiered on ABC.
And it's so funny that like the other two actually ended up outshining her on that show. Like it's named after Roseanne, but like Goodman and Metcalf were the stars of that show by the end of it.
Oh, for sure.
And still are.
Yeah, well now they're the only stars.
If you'd like to know more, you can go back. We did a Roseanne show, didn't we?
No.
Did we?
No,
No?
did we? No, I think it's
No,
on
we
the
did not.
list. Yeah.
Oh,
I believe it is on the list, yes, but we have not actually done a show yet.
huh. All right. So on October 20th, Congress approved legislation to limit the amount of advertising on children's programs and present more shows with educational value for kids.
I was
don't
waiting
know.
for more.
I know. That's it. Like, because
Well, I mean, this was kind of landmark because like the 1980s cartoons that were basically half-hour commercials, when they I don't want to say outlawed, but made these guidelines, it warped TV for a few years.
I mean, we were raised on commercialized cartoons,
For sure. I mean,
so there's no wonder that we value having a collection of stuff. Whereas the present day kids, like, they don't really give a rip about having a physical representation of what they love.
we talked about that in quite a bit. In the He-Man show, we talked about how that was a cartoon based on a toy line, not the other way around.
Yep.
Yep.
Also, Wayland Parrott Flowers Jr. is a great name. Was an American actor, comedian, and puppeteer. Uh-oh.
Oh.
best known for the comedy act he created with his puppet Madame.
Madam.
Madame.
Damn
his
it! You actually
performances-
made me spit on myself.
performances as
Madame. Sorry.
Wayland Flowers and Madam were a major national success on stage and on screen in the 70s and 80s. The character of Madame was an outrageous old broad who entertained with double on burritos and witty comebacks.
What the fuck? Double entendres.
Double entendres and witty comebacks. Flowers' first big break was an appearance on the Andy Williams Show, and other appearances included Laugh In, Solid Gold. Solid Gold, geez, I haven't thought about that for decades.
Right?
Keep on Truckin', Madam's Place. They met a whole show just about a puppet, and a long run on the game show Hollywood Squares, where they replaced Paul Lynde. What?
Yep.
What is
J.
this
Bullock was not
travesty?
happy.
Flowers and Madame were in the center square of the final NBC episode of Hollywood Squares in June 1980. Host Peter Marshall asked Madame the final game question in the daytime series. Flowers was one of the first mainstream entertainers who was openly gay. Sometime during his 4-year stint on Solid Gold, Flowers was diagnosed with HIV. He eventually developed Kaposi's sarcoma, an AIDS-related cancer. On October 11th, Flowers died of complications from AIDS-related Kaposi's sarcoma at the age of 48. Madame lived long and prosper to be in.
Yeah, actually,
game shows for the next
another
40
ventriloquist
years.
came along, what about 10 years ago and kind of resurrected Madam.
I
Really?
think I know what she looks like. She's got that like the huge chin, right?
Yeah.
Yep. She's got like a
Evening
handkerchief
gown.
thing on her
Yeah.
head.
Yeah,
Like
with a feather on it. Okay, I know
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
what it is.
okay.
And a boa. And, she like one of her famous jokes was always, she talks about always wearing her summer diamonds, like summer diamonds, summer not.
Ah.
Yeah. So,
Get it?
yeah, that's
Got it.
That's Madam. And also, yeah, in case you were wondering, Waylon Smithers was named and modeled after Waylon Flowers.
Oh,
Did not know that.
I did
Yep.
not know that.
that is some quality trivia.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to sports.
Sports.
On October 20th, the Los Angeles Dodgers completed one of the greatest upsets in MLB World Series history when they completed a 5-2 victory over the Oakland Athletics, winning the World Series title in 5 games. Orel Hershiser became only the third player to win the MVP honors in both the League Championship Series and the World Series. The win gave the Dodgers their first World Championship since 1981, becoming the only team to win more than one title in the 1980s. Yep, that's all there is to say about that. And Ajaz Yunus Patel, born October 21st, is a New Zealand cricketer who plays for the Central Districts in domestic cricket. Patel is a slow left-arm orthodox spin bowler who was formerly a left-arm seam bowler. He made his international debut for the New Zealand cricket team in October 2018. The following month, he made his Test debut for New Zealand, taking 5 wickets in the second inning. In May 2020, New Zealand Cricket awarded him with a central contract. In December 2021, in the second match against India, Patel became the third bowler in Test cricket to take all 10 wickets in an innings. Jim Laker and Anil Kumble were the others, in case you were wondering.
Oh.
I was.
There you go. And that's going to do it for this week's Twee. Play us off, Keyboard Joel.
All right, so it's 1988, and The Kids in the Hall has just been released. It is a TV series of the Canadian sketch comedy troupe that, more often than not, puts bizarre, unique, and insane twists in their skits. That's putting it lightly. So back then, Bruce McCullough and Mark McKinney were working together in Calgary, performing in a group called The Audience. Norm Hiscott, Gary Campbell, Frank Van Keegen were co-members and later became writers on the show. But at the same time, Dave Foley and Kevin McDonald's, wow, I'm hungry, were performing around Toronto, along with Luciano Casimiri. as Kids in the Hall. The two pairs met into Toronto, began performing together as Kids in the Hall with a rotating band of members, including Paul Bellini, for a short time. And then when Scott Thompson was invited to join in 85, the group had
It's final
form. Yes. Debuted on HBO and CBC television in 1988 and became a regular weekly series on both by 89. 89 on HBO, it premiered in July, and the first 3 seasons were on HBO before it eventually moved to CBS in 93, where it stayed for 2 more seasons, airing late Friday nights for some reason. CBC aired the show for the whole duration of its run. The group's 88 to 95 series won a number of awards, including the 93 Rose d'Or and the Gemini Award for Best Comedy Series. It was also nominated for various other awards, including the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Writing in a Variety Series in 93, 94, and 95. They also received a star on Canada's Walk of Fame and won the Canadian Screen Icons Award in 2019.
Are those Walk of Fame? Is that like in front of Tim Hortons or what?
I don't know, probably in front of a hockey rink for all I know. It's in Toronto. So, the stars. Dave Foley playing various characters. Bruce McCullough, Kevin McDonald, Mark McKinney, and Scott Thompson as the core members. There's also Bellini, who is the guy in the towel.
Yep.
Who shows up. Yeah.
I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
He's been around since the old days.
Yeah, he's been around for a long while. And I was watching this, and it's funny because Suzanne, halfway through a Kevin McDonald sketch, Suzanne's like, why do I know that guy's voice? Like,
how would you not? He's done so many voiceovers.
Well, I mean, yeah, he does a lot of voice acting, but for us...
Invader Zim?
Nope. Pleakley from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, I thought she was... Yep, that's a big one for a lot of people, because, I mean, bigger than Invader Zim, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the tall ones in Invader Zim.
Yep. Bruce McCullough, also, he did stuff for a show called Dog Park and Young Drunk Punk. You know, they all did their...
Super drunk.
Oh, super drunk.
That's different.
That is later on. Dave Foley, who also did the voice of Flick in A Bug's Life. And it was also in The Wrong Guy. And for some reason, he played Uncle Dave in the movie Postal.
And we did a show with him already.
News Radio. News Radio.
He's on News Radio.
Oh, that's right.
He's a main character.
Mark McKinney, who I think is hilarious. He was also in Night at the Roxbury, a show called Slings and Arrows, and was also Glenn from Superstore.
Such a good character. Such a good show.
Yeah.
Made me love him again. Yeah.
Yep. And then Scott Thompson went on to do things like direct the movie The Pacifier, starring Vin Diesel.
I did not know that.
Yep. He was also in some episodes of Reno 911 and did several voices as Grady in The Simpsons. So yeah, you've seen all these guys at one point or another.
Yeah. Primarily together because they've had a long and storied career with specials and the series and the movie and
we'll get to the movie
follow-up series and the new series and
yeah. So trivia: the troupe took their name from a line that comedian Sid Caesar always said after telling a joke that did not go well. I got that one from the kids in the hall, referring to the aspiring joke writers that were always hanging around outside of his office.
That's funny.
Yeah. And Joel, this is for you. Kurt Cobain, the late lead singer of Nirvana, was a big Kids in the Hall fan and good friends with Scott Thompson. Following his death, his Seattle manager sent Scott a picture of Kurt when he was 7 years old. Scott, as Buddy Cole, burned this picture on the final episode of Kids in the Hall during the Buddy's Bar Closes sketch.
Oh. I wanted to watch the last episode, and I just totally spaced on it today because there was a couple things that happened in it that I'd heard about. I had not heard that, though. That's
Yeah.
good trivia.
Is this a first viewing for any of us?
Nope.
I wouldn't think so.
Patrick?
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Saw that
Huh.
coming.
I could have sworn you had linked some random sketches to.
I mean, like, I'm familiar with some of their sketches, and I'm familiar with, like, their most popular stuff, but I'm not, like, by any stretch, a big fan.
It's funny if you look. I mean, if you kind of dig into them at all, how many people say they've influenced them. And what's funny is that as soon as I started watching it, because I haven't watched the original series in a long time, and being older and having spend a lot more time with some things, the first thing that came into my head, especially when you see a Helen skit, 30 Helens agree.
Yes.
I was like, this is essentially like the Canadian Monty Python for all intents and purposes. It's that same similar type humor.
I felt like it was certainly what they were going for, definitely.
Yeah. And then
Like that.
no real aim to the sketches, and they always seem to end on a non sequitur.
And sometimes they're pretty damn depressing topics, but they, they're still.
And
humor.
and lots of absurdity and lots of guys in women's clothes and women's wigs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Although that's actually where they differ the most, because I kind of feel like with Python, often the women or the guys who are dressed as women were the gag, where in Kids in the Hall, whenever they're playing women, they're just women characters. Like, this is a guy who's portraying a woman is almost never the joke with Kids in the Hall.
Whereas Graham Chapman in a dress was always the joke.
Yes.
That's a very good point. Like, it's almost like more of a Shakespearean thing out of necessity rather than, or out of, just, we need a female character. What are you going to do? All right, Scott, dress up in a dress.
Yeah, because Python did have women they could call on if they really wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Connie Britton.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
There were two.
Carol.
Yeah, Carol something. Why can't
Yeah.
Spinny? No, that's Big Bird. Sorry.
That's
Carol
a little
O'Connor.
different.
Nope.
Yeah, that's different too, but I would
Archie
watch
Bunker.
that.
Carol Burnett.
Nope, that was actually a woman.
Carol Cleveland. There you go.
Thank you.
Like that? Didn't even look it up. Just popped in my head.
Carolina on my mind.
I
Got it.
remember starting to watch this in senior year of high school and loving it, especially the crushing your head thing.
I'm crushing your head.
Crushing your head. You have a head like a cabbage. It deserves to be crushed. And then going to school the next day and being like, oh, yeah, crushing your head. And I crush your head. And apparently I'm the only person in school that watched that. People were just like, the hell are you doing, Tusky? Crushing your head.
I'm
That's
in
your
the
new
Canadian
thing?
skit comedy.
Well, I mean, there was only 100
Teachers
kids in
are
my
all, well,
school.
the Teskey kids being weird again, writing you in the journal.
And something new for the journal. Tusky Kid is doing this today. But no, I love the complete absurdity of this one. I mean, just the hard left turn that just about every sketch takes. Like the one where they find the stray businessman.
Oh, I love that skit with
Yeah.
Bruce.
I found him outside. I wanted to. Oh, you're not bringing in another stray, and it's a businessman. And he comes in like is handing out his business card, and he finally, goes through this whole ridiculousness of having this stray businessman as a dog. They're camping out, taking him for martinis and that sort of thing. And then at the end, it's like you have to send him back into the wild. So he takes him downtown. And he finds other businessmen, and they all hail a cab and get into a cab and drive off together. But then the mom at the end, oh, I found this one at the pet store for you. Oh, it's so cute. And he reaches in the box. It's cooked oatmeal.
Yes.
And I'm just like, he puts the oatmeal on his shoulder. Oh, he likes me. It's just like, I'm not sure if it was a planned smack upside the head or if it was kind of we don't know how to end this.
Little column A, little column B. I
Probably.
also like how they would kind of insert themselves into the skit. So it wasn't a character, it was actually them in the skit. And, you know, I mean, it's one thing where you're sitting there and you're talking to each other like we are now, and that's just like a segue. It's a different thing where you actually write a skit and you insert yourself as a character in the skit. And yeah, they just didn't seem to have any real boundaries as far as what they're gonna say or do, which sometimes I feel, at least now, is a little hard to watch. Like the use of the F word and not fuck, not the other F word, the one that, you know, Scott could get away with, or the blackface. There's quite a bit of blackface, which was a little shocking. Please tell me somebody else saw either one of those things happen.
Well, I've seen Scott Thompson say fag several times, but I've never.
Yeah.
I didn't
had a whole
watch the
song about
blackface
it.
thing.
You had a whole song about it. Run, faggot, run.
I missed that one.
But yeah, there's a specific skit in one of the last episodes I watched yesterday, where Scott's Dave brings him home, and Dave's dressed as a woman, and he brings Scott home as his boyfriend, and he's in blackface, and he's telling, you know, that my parents, you know, they're not going to like you, or, you know, be aware that they're kind of closed-minded. And his parents are totally cool, and they're nice about it, and they're, you know, super sweet. They really love him, but Dave's character keeps like, I can't believe you said that, Mom, you know, and they're not even doing anything. They're being good parents. And she runs off to leave, and she said she's going to go to like the bad part of town, and they're like, have you ever been there? And he's like, no, I wouldn't go there. You know, that was kind of the punchline. But yeah, he had blackface on for the whole thing.
So I think I'm picking something up from Patrick's reaction to this.
What you got?
I'd like to hear from him because he made a prediction at the top of the show.
Yeah, he's been kind of quiet.
I mean, as I said, I've never really watched these shows because I'm not really a big fan of these guys. I mean, I'm familiar with them. I've seen stuff they've done. Never seen any of their movies, so I don't know like what their long form comedy is like. But I mean, I don't know. I don't find them funny. I don't really enjoy them. I mean, they get some like chuckles out of me here and there. They might get a laugh, but I mean, you compare them to Monty Python, and like I watch Monty Python knowing the jokes are coming, still laughing, still whatever. These guys, I don't know what it is about them. They just don't. They don't do it for me. If I was forced to pinpoint it, I'd have to. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what it is. It's just, it feels to me kind of like they're trying too hard, almost.
See, you made a prediction, and your prediction is incorrect because I agree with almost everything you just said.
Oh wow!
Oh.
I've never been a fan of Kids in the Hall, despite the fact that I appreciate them, but they usually don't make me laugh. For me, they are 80% not funny, but the 20% where they are funny, fucking kills.
So give me an example of where they kill.
There was a sketch where there's a bunch of construction workers, and the new guy's trying to figure out how he can make money without working. And there's this whole bit about how they injure themselves to get on workers' comp. And one of the guys, is obviously like he's hit himself with a hammer too many times, and they have him like try to injure him, and he nearly kills him. That whole sketch had me rolling. And I appreciate that they're going to push the boundaries. Like Joel said, is like they don't have any rules. They just make sketches about things that no one else would think to. But it's because they're so far pushing the envelope. For me, a lot of the bits didn't land. But I'm glad they're out there doing their thing, because when things work, they really work.
Yeah, and you need things like this in comedy, like you said, pushing the envelope, pushing the boundaries in order to grow comedically as a culture, as a, just as a body of work. They're necessary for experimentation. You always need something like that. I would say the one the one skit that I enjoyed a lot was the one called The Asshole, where Kevin McDonald is working in a little restaurant, and they're getting ready to go to a movie, and one guy brings in his friend, and he's just like this passive aggressive asshole the whole time, and Kevin McDonald ends up going off on him, and it's a pretty fun rant.
It kind of like is one of my favorite skits of theirs is where Kevin is there with Dave, and they're talking about a movie that Dave had seen the night before. And Dave keeps he's like, I can't think of it. It's this movie about this guy. He's got this sled. It's called Rosebud. And Kevin's like, Citizen Kane. He's like, no, that's not
Orson Welles is in it. Yeah.
And they just keep going until he stabs him. And that's the kind of thing that, that's my wheelhouse. Like the Kids in the Hall, and we'll get more into it with the modern era Kids in the Hall. They're 100% in my wheelhouse now. Whereas here they were like 75% in my wheelhouse. Because, I like things that are a little absurd. But I agree. There are some times where I just enjoy watching it and experiencing it, but I don't necessarily find it funny.
I always liked Chicken Lady. The one where the bearded woman and Chicken Lady go to the strip club.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, they keep throwing her off the stage.
Good Lord, no, I don't remember that one.
Oh, yeah, she's like, I've got dollars. Did you see what I did? And the bearded who plays the bearded woman? Mark McKinney. No, not Mark McKinney. Bruce McCullough plays a bearded woman, and they're like threatening the other women in there, and finally they have the what is it? Her favorite was Tarzan. Oh, Tarzan! Tarzan's coming out, and then they switch it to the rooster, and this guy comes out dressed up as a rooster, and she just explodes. I like the absurdist of it. I like the hard left turn. I hate to say I'm with Joel on this one, but I laughed a lot in watching the old shows, and I watched the last episode, which really carries over into the first of the new episodes too, like directly carries into it.
Now I wish I'd seen it.
Oh, I'll tell you, because it's it's the very last show. They close it up and they go to the businessmen, and they're like, well, that's the end of that. We're going to close it all up. It's done. The show's over. The guys kind of like do their little wave. They march outside, lay down in an open grave, and what's his name? The guy in the towel. Bellini is driving a backhoe, and he dumps dirt all over him. And they bury him, and they have a tombstone. Oh, no, they don't know. No, the businessmen bury him, and then Bellini shows up with one lily and is dancing on their grave. So that's the last episode. But the first episode of the new one, they dig him up, and they're all wearing the same outfit. And Bellini is the one in the backhoe digging him up, and he's like, "Well, you asked for it,
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What's funny though is that in between then and now, there's been, of course, the movie. There's been a bunch of specials that they had, and then there was a series in 2010 called Death Comes to Town, I believe.
Yeah, Death Comes to Town is about a murder in a small town where somebody murders the mayor of a small town. It's like 7-8 episodes.
Yeah,
just Brain Candy is the movie that they did that also has a lead into the new episode. Yeah, to the new season. I mean, Brain Candy is definitely a niche comedy movie.
It's
Mhm.
very divisive. Like you either love it or you hate it. There's not a lot of middle ground.
Yeah, it's a commentary on a comedy about big pharma not vetting their drugs before they release them to the public. So it's, I don't know, Patrick. I'm assuming you haven't seen it, and I'm also going to assume you're never going to seek it out and watch it.
Both correct.
Yes. So this company's on the verge of bankruptcy, and
Wait.
they discover this one drug.
Wait a
that-
minute. Wait a minute. Is this the? I may have seen this. Is this the one where it opens up and like the family comes over to visit their grandmother, and they're all
Yeah.
just horrible people, but she's taking a pill that makes her feel like this is the best.
No. That's her best memory. They all come in.
Yeah.
Like he comes in, takes one shot. Yeah, we got to leave, Ma. We'll talk to you later. And she gets stuck reliving that over and over in her head because
because that's her best memory. Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen that movie. I don't know why I saw it, but I've seen it.
Well, that's
That's amazing.
yeah,
Right?
That's crazy. I can't understand that there's something like that you would watch.
What the
But-
hell,
Interest-
Pat?
Interestingly, Siskel and Ebert, when they went to review this, they got into an argument about whether it was good or not.
I think maybe I might have just only seen that opening scene and then flip channels because I don't remember anything more about the movie.
So, do you know which was on which side of that argument?
Yes, Siskel gave it 3.5 stars and predicted that it would become a midnight cult film. And Ebert said he didn't laugh once and thought it was awful.
That tracks.
Yeah, that follows through, and he was right because it really did become a cult classic.
That had no laughs, so
Well,
they were
aw.
both right. Ah.
Well, and what's interesting, and if for those of you who haven't seen it yet, if you watch like Mike was saying, if you watch the new series, they directly reference it.
Yeah,
and,
well, we'll talk
Yeah,
about
let's.
it.
Yeah, I was
going
gonna say
We'll
let's
get to that.
hold
We'll
off on that for the second half.
I mean, I've seen the movie, and I've seen it, I think, twice, and it didn't never hit me like the series did, at least aspects of the series. But I kind of want to revisit it now and see whether, with an older me, if there would be more to appreciate in it.
I will say, as somebody who's watching this for the very first time, something that I noticed while watching it that kind of bothered me, and I don't know if it really affected my viewing, but I definitely noticed it. Is the studio audience as they're recording these things? It felt like it was just full of a bunch of fanboys and stuff like that of theirs because they were literally I mean, you could tell it wasn't a laugh track, but they were literally laughing at almost every single line. And I'm like, even the setup lines that weren't jokes, they were laughing at. Like the guy walks in and says one line, "Hi man, what's up?" And they start laughing. I'm like, that wasn't even like a funny line. What are you laughing at? So I felt like it was almost like they had an audience full of people that were trying way too hard to make sure everybody knew that they were being funny.
Well, they were Canadians, so they were being polite.
Ultra polite, yeah. Like, is that what you do in a Canadian comedy club? You laugh even if you don't think it's funny? You just
Yes.
That's why there's so many Canadian comedians, because they all think I'm great. Oh, I must be doing great. Everybody's laughing.
Eh?
Yeah. I liked Brain Candy. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was, like off the wall. I like the adding of the characters, like the gypsy taxi driver. Will you get out of my cab? He went to throwing everybody out of his cab. The gypsy taxi driver, Bellini,
Okay, yeah,
shows up for a little
I
while.
definitely did not finish watching that movie. So
That's a
No.
bad sign.
But no, I enjoyed it, and it's free on YouTube. It's on the Kids in the Hall YouTube page. So go check it
Well,
out.
now
there.
that they've broken even, let's see. Show it.
Yeah, right.
I do find it interesting that we again seem to cover the whole spectrum, where Mike is, I don't want to say a super fan, but he's a big fan of pretty much all of it. Joel likes most of it, but more appreciates than laughs. I don't like most of it, but appreciate it. And Patrick seems to have no use for almost any of it.
yeah,
Patrick
Well-
doesn't understand.
Well, how about this, Patrick? Out of the 5 main actors that make up the
Dave
show,
Foley.
okay. I was just curious. Now, what for the other 2 of you who have seen the then and the now, is there a character that you appreciated more then versus who would be like your favorite now? And we'll talk about the now person later, but do you have one that you liked better back then?
I think the 2 Cathys, Scott Thompson and Bruce McCulloch's Cathys, are funnier as a callback than they were back in the day.
But was there one of the actors that stood out?
Well, I've always liked Scott Thompson and Dave Foley more than the rest of them.
What about you, Mike?
The easy answer is Dave Foley, but I think Kevin McDonald.
He had a pretty funny arc on what was it, The King of Queens, I think. I don't know. There was some sitcom he had a pretty funny arc on as a vicar in the church.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I definitely was a Scott Thompson fan back in the day. Like when this was on originally, and I was, watching little bits here and there in high school. He was definitely my pick back then.
All right. Well, I think we've talked about the kids long enough. Take a break and come back and talk about the new ones.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. We'll be back in a little bit. All right, we are back. And we're going to talk about the Kids in the Hall 2022.
Hey, real quick, on our Facebook page, I posted a question to our listeners of who their favorite Kids in the Hall character or actor was. We got 2 responses. Dan Gus said, "Man, this looks like a Cocoon redo for the picture from the new series." And Mike Kistler said, "I was obsessed with Comedy Central reruns back in middle and high school. I think Bruce was my favorite back then. Right now, I'd say Mark, but solely because of his part on Superstore." So thank you for the feedback.
And shout out to Dan. Dan was my buddy in high school, still is. And do you guys
High
know
school?
the what? No, he's not still in high school, you
Oh,
ding dong.
right.
Do you know I told about the let's go paintballing at 2 a.m. in a public park story?
Yes.
Dan was one of the other guys with me evading the police.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was one of the police officers. You guys just
No.
struck up a friendship and.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say he was the public park.
He was the
Oh,
park.
What a twist.
He was the park. So we were talking about the Kids in the Hall 2022. Just came out like 3 days ago, last week.
It's brand new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
last Friday.
Brand spanking new on Amazon Prime. The iconic Canadian sketch comedy troupe, The Kids in the Hall, returned from the dead with a reboot of their groundbreaking sketch series. I wouldn't call it a reboot.
No.
They're
It's a
just picking up
continuation.
where they left off. Yeah.
Right. It's a continuation that acknowledges that the time has passed.
Right. A lot. It acknowledges the time has passed. This is again starring Dave Foley, Bruce McCulloch, Kevin McDonald, Mark McKinney, Scott Thompson, and Paul Bellini.
Although
Who have-
now they do occasionally have other people.
Yes,
Yep.
they do. Which is kind of sort of in the old episodes, they actually would have their family members come in and do it. So occasionally some of the episodes would have like Bruce McCullough's mom would be a character for an episode or something like that. Now they're actually tapping comedians now. So you had Fred
Armisen.
Arneson. Yeah, Fred
Arneson,
Arneson
yeah.
was as the Friends of the Kids in the Hall bit.
There was a lot of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that bit seems to take one comedian from now who was always a fan of them playing a character who is a fan of them.
But then you do get some that are in the skits, like you had mentioned, Mike. Yeah, Jay Baruchel, Eddie Izzard, Colin Mockery.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that showed up inside the skits too. I think Colin Mockery was the probably the biggest shock for me because he is unless you see his eyes, that's where I finally get picked up on it. That Colin Maku playing a old English cop. But it's on season 1. It's on Prime Video. 8 episodes. It starts off with a garage sale being run by a very hippie. That was Scott Thompson.
Yeah, it's
Scott Thompson, where somebody pays $1 for a VHS copy of Brain Candy, which then breaks the curse because now it has finally made back all its money.
Earth money. One
money, yes,
Earth
the
dollar,
Earth
yeah.
money, the Earth dollar, $1 Earth dollar. And Satan screams as they were the deal that they made with him, and now they're with Amazon. And it cuts into the unearthing of the kids in the hall from the grave that they were put in 30 years ago, dressed entirely the same, all in the same positions, same order and everything. And I think the thing that made me laugh the hardest on that one was when they rolled off the dirt and Bruce McCullough's first question is, am I still the cute one?
Yeah,
No,
that was good.
Dave's the one that asked.
Was it Dave or was it
Yeah.
Bruce?
No, it's Dave.
It was definitely Dave Foley, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Am I still the cute one?
And Dave Foley, holy crap, his hair went from brown to like pure white.
But
well, they're in their 60s.
Otherwise, he seems to have aged, I want to say, almost the least.
Mm-hmm. Outside of the hair, I think he looks the best out of all of them.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin McDonald always kind of looked old.
He's looking much older now.
Yeah. Scott Thompson looked pretty good too.
Agreed.
Yeah. So trivia I have on this one is if you got around to the Shakespeare's bust sketch, they used around 100 gallons of fake blood in making this sketch.
That is my favorite sketch of the new series.
Really?
I wish I'd gotten that far because I'm not going to lie, given my revelation in the first half, I dragged my feet on prepping for this.
Oh.
And
No,
I really liked it. Like that 80-20 for me, where 80% was not funny, 20 was in then, flip-flopped. And I found myself wishing I'd had more time to continue watching more of the new.
And that's something that is interesting because my feelings on the original, like on the repeat, I'm already on my second viewing of the episodes because Laura wanted to watch it, and it's just as good the second time around. I feel like they have now purified and are kind of lasered in on kind of their comedy, and it's working for them.
Yeah, it's like what we were saying before. It's like they finally were in the very beginning of it. They had an idea of what they were doing. They wanted to push the envelope, but they weren't sure how far they could go and still get the laughs. And now I think they've got their rhythm down. They know what makes people laugh. And I loved it. I watched the entire series. And Josh, definitely, I think it's episode 4 where they have Shakespeare's bust.
That's episode 3, actually.
It is 3? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so I just missed it. If I'd done one more.
Yeah, it's just for conversation. I don't want to ruin it for you, but still it's hilarious. There's a guy who's a super fan of Shakespeare, has all the books, likes to read, and he has a bust of Shakespeare in his living room and wishes that he would come alive. And then it gets hit by lightning. He comes running in there and the Shakespeare bust is talking to him. And they have this brief moment of wonderfulness. And then it starts bleeding out its arms and all the intestines fall out because he's just a bust.
Funny. Okay.
And the whole play. And then he winds up, Shakespeare winds up sitting at his computer watching Jackass all day.
Also,
I may have to continue with this because, like you said, they had 102 episodes of throwing everything at the wall, and I think they figured out what stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 8 episodes are like fine-tuned, like firing on all cylinders for the most part. There's occasionally a stutter, like the bit Mike with the We're on Patrol, That one I was kind of like, I don't.
Occasionally they had problems. The We're on Patrol one didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense.
The Friends of Mark, I thought, was that in the new series?
Yeah, the Friends of Mark, where everybody had the flags that they're the Friends of Mark. That was another one where I'm kind of like not sure.
But Patrick, they make reference to a place called Shithole, Texas in episode 3. It's a true story.
Now, one of the things one of my favorite callbacks was Super Drunk, where they go back to Mr. Tizik, the head crusher, who is holding, what's the name of the tower hostage?
It's the only landmark in Toronto, right?
Yeah, he's sitting off
the CNN Tower or whatever.
Yeah, the CN Tower. Yeah, so he's sitting in a lawn chair and he's got his fingers set up to the CN Tower and he's like, "I am going to crush the tower. You cannot stop." He's all surrounded by police and they're all trying to stop him from crushing the tower, and he's asking for a can of ginger ale, a broken cuckoo clock,
and he's got a weird list of demands.
Yeah, I want a new lawn chair. And then Super Drunk comes in and stops him from crushing it by putting a shot glass in front of him. And he can't see the tower anymore.
So he's like a force field almost.
Yeah, Super Drunk was pretty funny.
Yeah, I liked Super Drunk. The Shakespeare bit, of course, was, like I said, was a good one. Oh, the 60 and stripping or whatever.
Yeah, that was
60,
funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, 60 and on the pole.
60 and on the pole, yeah. Well, I used to be an auto worker. Auto workers and strippers are in the same union, so I didn't lose my benefits.
You kind of wonder what they're going to do to step things up. And in that first episode, without spoiling anything for Pat, I mean, they pretty much put it all out there, and
yeah, they do.
Yeah, you know who's a Gentile. Let's just leave it at that.
I was a little in shock. I mean, I was a little like, okay. And the cop characters they're a callback. I don't know I assume they were in the original series, but they were in the one from 2010, The Death Checks In.
Yeah, I think they had the cop characters in the old ones.
Specific scene with the devil was a callback too.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Bobby and the Devil. That's who he was torturing. Yep. But no, it's super absurd still, but I think they've got it right. They're not that super psycho off the wall pulling oatmeal out of the box type of thing.
Yeah, you don't have something like the Eradicator, which is funny for 30 seconds and then goes on for 6 minutes.
Oh, the Eradicator comes back.
He's back.
Okay, well, hopefully it's funnier this time.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely was not the first time.
Because the Eradicator in this one, the Eradicator is not it's pretty much everybody calling him out on this one, but it's one of my favorite ones also, and I know I don't want to start going down this one,
right.
But
the Chris Farley, I
don't want Chris Farley this, but they did a whole thing on cultural appropriation.
Oh,
that one. Where the businessman, played by Scott Thompson, on his way to work, the shoes, you're only as young as your shoes. And he goes in and he buys a new pair of shoes on his way to work, and he comes out wearing clown shoes. Then he gets to work, and there's been an anonymous complaint that they're firing him for, that someone says his shoes are cultural appropriation. And it goes through this whole, can you tell me? No, it's anonymous. Well, why won't you? I need to know. No, you can't know. What if I guess? No, I think it was Bippo. And there's a clown standing right next to the desk that they finally show. And they're firing him for the clown shoes. And as they're getting up and walking out, Scott Thompson turns to Dave Foley, who's playing like that, the boss that looks like he swallowed a barrel guy. And goes, "Sir, are you by chance Dutch?" And they look down, and the boss is wearing wooden shoes. So they both get fired.
Nice.
Yeah, it's clever. There's some twists on it, and it's their absurdist comedy has matured. That sounds right.
Well, I mean, just look at and they're keeping up with the times, because if you look at like the Zoom call one, that
The
made me
Zoom
feel
call
a
one.
bit uncomfortable. Like, no music, no music. And as soon as the music cut out, I went, okay, this just got a little bit more uncomfortable. It's just really cool
Well,
to
that-
me to see 60-year-old guys still being relevant.
Oh, I thought you were going to say pulling a CNN or whoever it was on the CNN call that started spanking it in the middle of that everything.
It's just, but I mean, you think at some point people reach a certain age with actors or comedians where they got to they kind of change gears, or they go to do something like they were comedians, but then they start doing serious acting, or vice versa, like a Leslie Nielsen, where they're serious actors and they start becoming comedians.
Right.
And here's these guys that have gone off, done their all their things, their separate projects, their kids movies and whatever, and they come back and they're just as relevant, I felt like, and they've updated to meet the times, but still maintain what they started so many years ago. And I was impressed by that.
It's funny you bring up the Zoom call sketch, because the Zoom call sketch goes on with them all masturbating for a long time. I had a repair guy in the house. My door closed to my office, so I had to turn the sound down.
Yeah,
I was like, he's going to imagine what I'm watching in here.
Or he's going to imagine you're just taking part in something.
Right?
That's funny.
Group spank.
Yeah,
And-
what is it?
I like
Flying
that whole-
solo in formation?
What do you do?
like-
I work for a school. Oh no.
Oh. Well, I like it when Dave Foley is the boss. He's like, "Well, it just seems we're not going to get any work done today." That's where they make him drink the nanobots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so fizzy. Don't look at my face. Don't look at my face.
It's my secret. But no, they some of the other comedians that showed up on there was Kenan Thompson.
Yep.
Was there Fred Armisen said, J.B. Rochelle, Catherine O'Hara,
Yep.
Catherine Reitman, Samantha Bee, and Paul Sun-Hyung Lee.
Pete Davidson
Yep.
Yeah.
Pete
Also
Davidson
there.
was in the first one.
and Mark Hamill.
Yeah, Mark Hamill was in the last one. I think you might exhale out of your nose quickly a little bit more on this one, Patrick.
Yeah, for
Seriously.
spoiler alert, for those of you that haven't figured it out by now, I did not watch any of the new.
What?
For time constraints and interest constraints, I was putting it off just like Josh did, and then by the time I realized my Amazon Prime had expired, I couldn't fix it and didn't really have the energy to go about finding a different route. When I
Or the
couldn't find my
desire.
normal, when I couldn't find my normal means, it didn't work. I was just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do it, but maybe I'll check it out based on you guys' recommendation.
At least
but
watch
I'm not,
the first
you know.
episode. It's 22 minutes of your life. That's all.
Yes, but my life has no value. So yeah, all right, fine. You talked me into it.
For
That
any
was
of
a lot
the,
easier than I thought.
for any of you listeners out there who are fans, and I know there's a lot of you just from various conversations we've had. I've told the guys about this already, but on May 20th on Amazon, they're releasing the Kids in the Hall Comedy Punks, which is a kind of I think it's a 2-part documentary type thing about them. So if you're interested, make sure to check that out as well.
Yeah.
Heads up.
What if you're not
All
interested?
right. So, I mean,
Heads
we've
down.
kind of talked about how they adjusted their style, how they got better. And I don't know how much further we can go with this without just going deeper into you remember that sketch?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
here's a question. Lorne
Oh.
Michaels produced this. Both of these. He's still the producer on this.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a interview with the group on
I'm glad you brought that up.
one of the late night shows. I forgot which one it was. And they had a conversation about, like, they sent a phone call. They found out about him, and then they called up there to get him on the show. And I think it was who answered they said they answered the phone. I think it was Bruce McCullough answered the phone, and they're like, "Oh, well, we'd love to kind of send a group from Saturday Night Live to come up and see you guys. We want to get Lorne Michaels up there to see you guys." And he was like, "Oh, well, the show's sold out. We're gonna do another one in a couple months, so maybe you can get tickets to that. So thank you," and hung up. And it was like, and I'm not sure if it's true or not if he hung up, but I can kind of see him saying that to them. But Lorne Michaels, this is not something that I was actually, I had forgotten that he had produced this, and it's so not his wheelhouse,
Well, for all of the stories you hear about Lorne Michaels, I think one thing, whether he can be a dick at times, especially to up and comers, I think he understands how comedies intersect with markets. And I expect some pushback, especially on me and maybe a little bit on Patrick's from our Canadian contingent on Discord, learning that we didn't really care for this, because I think that this is something that is probably funnier north of the border. And I think Lorne Michaels instinctively understands the differences between comedy for a Canadian market and for the US market. And that's why this is so different from Saturday Night Live.
But also it's very similar, but you're 100% right. It's very similar in the aspect of we're going to make a whole bunch of skits, and some of them are going to be good and some of them are not. We're just going to see what lands. It's similar in that aspect.
Yeah, but the sense of humor, I think, is different. And
100%. Yeah, I'm talking about the mechanics of the show. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I think one of the reasons it didn't land for you and me is because it's catered to a different sensibility, where in general, Saturday Night Live does make me laugh. Even the things that don't land 100%. I think if you compare classic Kids in the Hall to your average whenever Saturday Night Live is usually going to win.
I agree
New
with that.
Kids in the Hall, okay, that changes the math a little bit because they got better at comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say,
which everybody but Andy Dick does. You hope.
And Tom Green.
Well, okay, good point.
With current Kids in the Hall, I'd have to say my favorite now is Mark McKinney, and that might be a little bit tainted because of Superstore, but yeah, he's definitely in my wheelhouse nowadays.
He had a lot of bigger roles in this one also.
He's also a workhorse. Like that was the thing, is I barely noticed Mark McKinney in the classics, but he seems to have taken a very similar role to what Kenan Thompson has done on SNL, where he may not be the star of the scene, but he makes everyone else around him funnier.
And there's a reference to that in the last episode also, because they're actually talking about whatever character Mark is playing. That intense character that Mark is playing, they keep kind of referring to the fact that he's kind of he's carrying the scene, but he doesn't have a character that's named.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I was like, which scene are you talking about? But I remember now.
Yeah, where they have the Zoomer in the cage and he's on his phone and they don't know what the hell the whole scene is about they don't know how to entertain Zoomers.
Yeah. Because they just want to look at their phone, and
it was pretty.
All of them are playing themselves, but Mark is an unnamed character that is, yeah,
whatever unnamed character Mark is playing right now. Honestly, I think Scott Thompson, probably my favorite character, is the businessman.
The whole glory hole bit, the flamboyant tour guide who had this long history with gay bars, that whole bit made me laugh.
Yeah.
That's Buddy, right?
Yeah, Buddy was a throwback to the originals too.
Yeah.
Okay. I may not be as familiar with all of the classic bits as you guys are.
Yeah, he's definitely an original, one of the original big characters from that.
Yeah, going on, before we get to close, but I just want to say that these guys, I think the big difference is that on Amazon they're been giving a lot more free reign than they were, and even on HBO in '88,
and a lot more money too.
Right,
there's a lot more production value, and as soon as it started, I was like, "Whoa, this is a different show."
Yeah, it doesn't look like it was done in the garage or alley.
Right,
correct.
And when they go in for a joke, when everybody's all in for something, everybody is all in on the joke on this now. So I think they've just reached their point where, they have their shows and movies and stuff that they've done. They're making their residuals and they've kind of got the FU money. So sure, why not? They're doing what they want to do now, and God bless them, really.
So here's a question based on the way that since you finished the series like I did, Mike, do you feel like they've left it open for more, or is this just a one-off thing?
Well, I think they deliberately left it on a cliffhanger. And what was it? They were going to do the last episode was going to have nothing but punchlines, and the first episode on the next season is going to have nothing but setups. Something like that. I think they want to. I think they've got a lot more steam in the tank. I think they can do another season and still, they have more than enough characters to throw back to. They have more than enough stuff that they can pull, I don't say recycle, but bring to the current time type of thing. Like the businessmen sketch, like Josh was talking about the Zoom call thing, that is just translating the business jokes from then to now, and the characters still fit. And I agree with Josh. I think the two Karens with the fax machine scene in the first episode, that I thought was hilarious. But I definitely think that they would be able to pull at 2, maybe 3 more seasons out of what they got.
I'm hoping they continue, because 8 episodes just, to start especially, it's nice because it was condensed and it was like, drinking a Jolt Cola instead of a Coke Zero, and too much might have worn a little thin, but I would like to see more. So I'm kind of hoping that they do actually come back again. But it seemed like, because didn't they get buried again at the end? I don't remember. Now I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think they did get buried again at the end.
So they'd have to figure out how to
overcome
that.
Every season opener, they get dug up again.
Could
for
be
some various reason.
Yeah. So,
nope.
Are
Here's
we
to hoping.
ready? Ready for thumbs up, thumbs down, then?
Or whatever that was.
Somebody was revving up the thumbs up machine.
Wait, we have a machine for that now?
Everything's getting automated, Joel.
Wait, we have a machine for that now?
There he goes.
Wait, we have a machine for that now?
Oh, Robo Joel is fucking up.
The Joel machine's stuck.
Yeah. Well, I was going to remove the noise that just popped up on my phone, but you guys turned it into a bit. So. This is like somebody says, I'm typing, get rid of noise here. Ah, shit, it's a bit already. God bless it. But no, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Machine for that now?
Oh, God. Someone smack Joel. He's stuck in a groove. Really, Pat?
That's what did it.
Yeah, who knew?
I had a mouthful of soda. I almost did a spit take.
All right, thumbs up, thumbs down for the original.
I'm going to go with Joel and me. Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Agreed. I agree with Mike. Thumbs up.
And I'm not as enthusiastic a thumbs down as Patrick is, but I will have to go thumbs down.
Damn it.
Just going back to that a moment ago.
Thought I was about to get yelled at.
Yeah. No, Patrick.
Patrick.
Someone rub his face in that joke.
You're a disappointment to us all.
I said, just the phrase I said, stuck in a groove. I said that to someone. I can't remember who where it was, but I remember I said that out loud. Oh, I'm just stuck in a groove. And I got a blank look from the person.
Yeah, we're getting
that
old.
makes sense.
We're about to be 15 going on 50. So
I don't know. Maybe we should. Is that something we should do? Should we put a poll out there? Should we change our name? Good God.
Reboot.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna abstain from voting on the now because I didn't watch it, but yeah.
And I think it's pretty obvious because I'm a thumbs up on the relaunch of the continuation of Kids in the Hall for the now.
Yeah, give the first episode a chance, Pat.
I won't say no. How about that? That's the best I can give you. I got $20. It's the best I can offer.
$20 is $20.
Well,
Joel.
I'm definitely a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. And if you have your thoughts on maybe your favorite Kids in the Hall sketch, you want to try and put more pressure on Pat to listen to the relaunch, you have anything to say about show ideas, let us know. Give us a call at 708-NOW-RAP. That's 708-669-9727.
Yep. And if you're looking for our older stuff, you can find it everywhere. Find them on your favorite podcast apps such as Podbean or Pandora. If you enjoy the show, you can leave us a message or a note or a thumbs up or thumbs down on Apple, Google, or Amazon podcasts. And you can also support us through the Ko-fi link in the show notes and help us keep internet money cost things at bay. Joel, what do we have coming up?
Well, we got a couple of big things happening. We got Chippendale Rescue Rangers. It's going to be dropping on Friday. We're going to be talking about some house party jammy jams. And there's a whole slew of other stuff that's coming up, but we're going to let you know more as it happens. So hold on tight.
Gonna keep it secrets.
For now. There's just too many there to read. Plus, we don't know when we're doing them yet. So we'll kind of, wait till we shuffle them around. So
we can get bored of
secrets
something.
Are no fun.
Secret.
Hurt someone.
Got a secret.
Wait, they have an app for that now? Oh, wait, it was a machine. Damn it.
Machine.
Oh, Joel blew his own bit.
I blew my own bit.
Oh, if he could do that, he'd never leave his house.
We're out. Good night.
We'd never get a podcast done if he could do that.
Oh, you're so right. Teen Patrick, I've got my whole future ahead of me. Teen Patrick.
Nothing's gonna stop this rising star.
Teen Patrick. Wow.